From crease to crease and corner to corner, Bettor Hockey Now is NHL fantasy and betting done better. Step into the dot for Bettor Hockey Now on the Bettor Sports Network.
Welcome in to episode 2 of Bettor Hockey Now on the Bettor Sports Network. I'm Adam Bernardo. My defensive partner for today is Mr. Anthony Rivera on my right-hand side over here. If you're looking at the screen, Anthony, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. Missing Chris today. I wore my Habs shirt just for him, my Winter Classic Habs shirt, and we don't have him today, but all good. We'll get him back soon.
We'll get him back. He's busy doing fantasyalarm.com's NHL game preview, so make sure you head over there. And by the way, right now, fantasyalarm.com got a nice little promo going on. Get 50% off for your first 6 months using promo code ALARM50 if you go to the website, fantasyalarm.com. And, you know, we give you the video and audio content here, but if you need something to read regarding Game 2 of the Stanley Cup or anything hockey related, Chris has got you covered there, as well as Andrew Dewhurst. You know, they got plenty of coverage there, so take a look at that. Now, speaking of Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals, that is tonight. I'm going to take a little look back at Game 1 and then a little look ahead to Game 2 here. So, going back to Game 1, and then you see the final score there up on the screen. Vegas won 5-2. It was probably a little bit closer than that score. The main theme of Game 1, to me, was discipline. 7 power play opportunities for the Vegas Golden Knights. They convert on 2 of them. You can argue that's the difference, but when you watch Game 1, there was really no feeling. You know, sometimes you get like a real 5 to 10 minute feeling out period. That first half of the first period, you know, it's a little slow, some icings. No, these two teams got right into it. It was like they were playing for the third time in a week. And things got very chippy in Game 1, as we alluded to, with the amount of power plays. And Vegas was smart enough to stay disciplined. They really kind of just skated away. They didn't really, you know, there was definitely some brawling and stuff going on the ice. But at the end of the day, 7 power plays to Florida. It's tough to win any game, let alone a Stanley Cup final game, being down 7 times. Although they did get the shorthanded goal early, but nonetheless, Vegas takes Game 1. What were your big takeaways there?
Yeah, it seems like the game by the score was, out of reach, but it really wasn't. It was tied with 13 minutes left to go in the third period. So it was a good game all around. Got a little bit choppy towards the end. Adin Hill, right? That's got to be the takeaway. I talked about the experience, right? Sergei Bobrovsky being the goalie, coming in with the most experience. You got Adin Hill, and that's what I thought was the difference. And it was the difference, just the opposite way for me. I mean, Adin Hill made probably one of the top saves in Stanley Cup history. I mean, could you agree with that? Let's look at this save. He's
Here it is on slow-mo.
In the opposite way. Look at him and having to stretch with his stick. You lift that up an inch or two, and that's a goal. We're talking about a different game right now. It would have been totally different. The whole atmosphere, and what a save that was. I mean, I know they compared it to the Holtby save in the Stanley Cup when the Vegas played Washington, but I don't think there's a comparison. Just the way he, from the opposite stretch to get that, what a play. What an absolute amazing play. And then you got, another play I thought was was Mark Stone stealing the puck right in their zone and getting that goal. I mean, they could have been called a high stick, but it wasn't. And that was a big goal for Vegas. I think it made it 4-2 at that point. Yep, 4-2.
So you like you said, that is a momentum changing play right there, that save. And the thing that impressed me about it is, just like you said, the momentum of the body going one way, and he's got to get the stick out the other way just to make that save. I mean, that's how you can tell when a goalie's in the zone, when they can make saves like that. And yeah, I know sometimes there's a little bit of luck involved in just throwing your stick out one way because you know where that's the play is coming from. But again, whole game can go different. We're talking about Florida being up 1-0 heading into tonight versus Vegas being up 1-0. Speaking of that Braden Holtby save, now transitioning here to Game 2, Vegas won Game 1 of that series and then lost the next 4. That I'm going to just get something straight right here. I don't think that's going to happen again. You know, the guys in the locker room are very conscious of that. Jonathan Marchessault talked about, like, hey, We were, last time it was a little bit more of a we were happy to be here vibe. Now, and we understand that that's what happened, and that we didn't win the Stanley Cup by winning one game. So they're going to come into this game very conscious of that. But if Florida stays out of the box, maybe they don't take 7 power plays, maybe they take even half of that. It's a whole different game. And Florida is very comfortable playing in games that are even or, 1 goal deficit in either direction. They've established and shown throughout the playoffs they're very comfortable playing in that fashion. I think tonight we get a little bit more of a buckled down effort in that regard. I think there'll be a little more discipline there. Listen, I have no problem with establishing tone. I've got no problem with, letting the team know early, like, hey, we're going to be in your face and we're not going to back down this entire series. So get used to it. They went a little overboard with that. I expect more chippiness, but a little bit more watered down. Florida's 3-1 coming off of losses in the postseason, and they're 6-2 in their last 8 times dating back to the regular season in terms of games on the road coming off a loss in their prior game. Paul Maurice, I think, will get them settled down. And we talked about the big saves that Adin Hill made. Maybe a couple of those saves go the other way, and it's a different game too. So I think my lean is starting to show there. I think Florida is going to bounce back tonight. But before we give our official picks, what is your take leading into tonight?
Yeah, one person that I know it was towards the end of the game, but Kachuk got ejected in the third period. They kind of took him out of the game, double minor for roughing and misconduct. He's got to keep his head in the game. They need him. He could be the Conn Smyth winner when all is said and done if Florida wins. That's how good he's been this postseason with big goals. They need him at the end of the game, and losing him with, what was it, 5 minutes left? You're only down 2. Anything can happen. I know Vegas was in control, but you never know, especially in hockey. And, one stat that I got from, I think it was the Daily Faceoff. They kind of made a little graphic on Instagram, and they took the stat from NHL.com. Since the NHL adopted the best of 7 format, the team that won game 1 has gone on to win the cup 76% of the time. That's 63 out of 83 chances.
And listen, it's the series is not over. We know that, but that's when you take a look at statistics like that, that's they always say it's not a series until somebody wins on the road, and now that hasn't happened yet. But hey, maybe that does happen tonight. I think Florida, not to say the series would even be over at 0-2, but when you're talking about a team like the Panthers, who have been heavily riding a wave of momentum and big saves and lucky bounces sometimes, not to say that, listen, they're playing top-notch hockey, but they're benefiting from a hot streak as well. They lose 2 games. I know you're going home, but there's no more momentum. And now you have to find a way to rally and bounce back because you're down 0-3, and then the series quickly becomes over at that point. But let's take a look at the odds heading into game 2 tonight, courtesy of Caesars Sportsbook. Don't forget, over at Caesars right now, you could get up to $1,250 back on your first bet, plus that 1,000 tier credits, plus 1,000 reward credits using promo code FULLFA. That's FULLFA at fantasyalarm.com/Caesars. Florida on the puck line at plus 118, Vegas at minus 140. On the money line. Then on the puck line, Florida plus a puck and a half, minus 225. Vegas minus a puck and a half, plus 180. And the total, I'm seeing at 6 in some spots and 5.5 in others. I'm looking at the minus 120 there for the over, and then even right now on the under. So looking at tonight's action, where are you leaning for your winner, and where are you leaning for your total?
Well, I definitely had the Vegas winning game 1. Came away with that one. I'm going to go Florida for game 2. I know you mentioned about going down 2-0. I don't start to worry until it's like 3-0. The 2-0 in hockey doesn't have the same feel as it would in the NBA, baseball. So I feel a little bit different about that. I think Florida comes back. They win this one, get a little bit of momentum going back home when they go to Florida. So I'll have them going and winning tonight.
All right, so you got Florida winning tonight. I also got Florida winning tonight. I think they bounce back right now on at BetMGM. They're plus 120 on the money line. I'm not messing with the puck line tonight because I know the empty net goal, and I love doing that too. I know Chris talked about, rooting for that, but I don't feel like that the game has that kind of vibe tonight. I'm just going to stick with the money line, go a little bit safer. And hey, right now, BetMGM, you get $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win by using fantasyalarm.com/BetMGM. So certainly a nice little deal there
That's the
to
way to
check
go.
out. So we're both on the Panthers tonight for game 2 to even up the series. And where are you leaning for your total tonight?
I like the total. I'm gonna go under 5.5.
Okay.
I like the under. I know that they kind of got that over, yes, on game 1, but what I saw from Aiden Hill, I know Bobrovsky can be better. I think we have a tighter game going forward. And if they don't, like you said, if they don't get into too many penalty kills, Florida, it's going to be good. It's going to be a really good game. I think we're going to have a really good series. Like I said Florida in 7. I'm just going to stick to that, and they'll win tonight and even the series heading into game 3.
I agree. I got the under 5.5 plus 104 at FanDuel. Right now, they're also doing up to $1,000 no sweat first bet by using fantasyalarm.com/FanDuel. You deposit $10 or more, then place your first bet up to $1,000. Get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you lose. Seems like a pretty safe thing to do and get a little action going on the game. But with everything we've talked about, if Florida has to stay out of the box tonight, they absolutely have to stay out of the box. If they do that, there's less offense. I think we get a little more 5-on-5. Now, Vegas has shown they can be prolific 5-on-5 too, but if you're going to give them multiple power plays like that, they're going to convert on them. So you cut that down, and I think, with both goaltenders playing well, I think we got a recipe for an under here as well. So we're both on Florida and the under for tonight. Before we get out of here, let's take a quick look at the updated Conn Smyth odds. Anything there you like with the updated odds here? Anything you're jumping out to that you think is a smart play at this point?
I'm still on Jonathan Marchessault at the plus 425, but hey, man, Aiden Hill's starting to grow on me, especially with that save. You make a big save like that only boosts your confidence. Plus 500 looks good for him. I want to say Mark Stone too, but I think there's just too many Golden Knights that are ahead of him right now, unless he has some huge game where he pulls off 3 goals, a hat trick, maybe 3 or 4. Maybe it's a different story, but I like Marchessault at 425. I like Aiden Hill. I think is a nice one at plus 500. On the other side, you're gonna need it's basically just Bobrovsky and Tkachuk. I don't see anyone else taking that from them. They've done too well. They're too far ahead in goals and points. And Bobrovsky, with the saves, he has a shutout, and it's a different story. So those two are the only ones on Florida that really are on my mind.
I agree with the Florida side, and I think that's what it's going to be for the remainder of the series, unless Barkov's all of a sudden starts to take off, because he's a top player for them, and he's a guy that could maybe steal that for them if he has a strong series the rest of the way and they win. I would say with Tkachuk, the thing that jumps out at me there is that he is plus 450, and he was like at plus 325, I think, heading into the series or something around that. So you get a little value there if you still think the Panthers are going to win the series and that Tkachuk is going to be the guy that makes things happen. I agree with your take on the Golden Knights side. Listen, Jack Eichel, I think, is going to have a big game coming up soon. So, plus 325 is good, but I can see that number coming down. So that might not be a bad play to go either. So there's your updated Conn Smyth odds for game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals, 8:00 Eastern tonight. That does it for Bettor Hockey Now, episode 2 here on the Bettor Sports Network. For Anthony Rivera, I'm Adam Bernard. And looking forward to fun-filled game 2, some chippiness, and I think we both think that we're gonna head back to Florida here with the Tide series, and check out Mr. Jared Moore's picks on the Bettor Network Twitter page, because he's got a nice little take there, and I think he's gonna lean our way as well. But for episode 2 of Bettor Hockey Now, we'll see you soon.
Bettor Hockey Now is on the Bettor Sports Network.